Well, I guess I think the number one thing that I really fall back on is my own experience. Being a software engineer, being a designer, being a product person who had to build things. And actually, I really enjoyed doing it. You mentioned Posterous, who does simple blogs by email. We built it from zero to a top 200 site on the internet. And I guess I'll never forget how empowering that experience felt. Having worked at Microsoft, I was like 9 levels down from the CEO. I, you know, had 20 bugs that were my entire universe, and then I had maybe one or two software engineers who would fix those bugs, and that was my day to day. And to go from that to being a team lead, to be able to build software from scratch, I didn't really have a boss at that point, and especially when I started my company, like there was no one looking over my shoulder, and so what that meant was that there was nobody to sort of hold me back. I could go directly to my user. I would get emails from users saying like, "Hey, this is broken," and I would just go in the code, I'd fix it, and then I'd roll the fix, and I'd say, "Hey, it's fixed," and then I would have someone who, even to this day, is like, "Hey, thanks for fixing that bug for me." I think we forget about tech. We think about tech as this giant machine, but I don't think it has to be like that. I think it can be like very direct and very personal. And that's actually what I'm looking for in the founders that we back. When I met Brian Armstrong, he was exactly like that. What actually stood out to me was that the recommendation that got sent to me was from another founder who we worked with and I funded named Garry Tan. He created SIFT, which is an anti-fraud platform. It actually just got to $1 billion status recently. And the email said, "You need to meet Brian Armstrong. He and I were up until 2 a.m. last night debugging my software." And, he didn't have to do that. He just loves this stuff. And for us, we invested in Coinbase at 15 cents per share. USV invested at 20 cents. Andreessen and others invested like all the way up the line. I think the later stage rounds were $10, $15. And of course, now it's sitting at, mid 200s right now. So, I mean, that is the power of being super early. It's before traction, but I did have a demo. I did know that this founder was, had the right builder mentality. And when I meet with founders, I just try to identify that. I try to say, would I go work for this person? If I wasn't working on what I'm working on right now, is this someone pointed at a direction that matters? If we achieve what this person is saying, what happens? And so for Brian Armstrong, it was like Satoshi Nakamoto's vision is to be something that fundamentally changes the world financial economy. And at that moment, it seemed very, very unlikely that that was going to happen. But we said, this is the right person, and that this direction, if it happens, it will push forward society in a way that we want to live in that world. And so I would choose to work for that person. And that's really worked pretty well, honestly. I mean, we met Jack and Sam Yam from Patreon. They were college roommates, actually. Jack Conte was a YouTuber, actually. And, he had a band, he had a YouTube that was very popular, and he said monetization for artists is terrible. And Sam was a great engineer, and the two of them had sort of that 1-2 punch. And they had basically a demo and an idea, and we said these are the right people to work on this. There's not other people who could do this. I think Flexport in the same way, looking at Ryan Peterson had actually become one of the biggest importers of, I think it was medical hot tubs and electric bikes from China. And so he very directly had experience with how arcane and frankly stuck in the Stone Age import-export and logistics were. And that's why he had to create Flexport. And so, at this point, we've zoomed out and said every part of the economy is going to be remade with basically the software that is what you expect, right? Every single day, there's someone who goes out into their job in their workplace today, and maybe they open an Excel spreadsheet, but sometimes they're literally still picking up a clipboard and a paper and pencil, and they're literally doing transactions worth, hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars, and then they'll go to lunch, and they'll take an Uber to get there, and then they'll take out their phone and take a photo of their lunch. And it's like that software is so easy, and then they go back to work and there's no software at all. And so I think that that's one of the easiest things for us to sort of see over and over again. Crypto is software eating money, but software is eating absolutely every part of this economy. And it's actually still very, very early. And so that's the most important thing. It's like realizing, hey, like we have a hand in this. Like we can actually change it. And I think that's what we get to see every day.